Hi, this is Praveen from Work Life with Praveen. And in today's episode, we will be speaking about why it is important for leaders to have a grand vision and how to have a strategy which will help us in accomplishing that grand vision. So we'll quickly get started and we'll start with having a vision. Now, when we speak about having a vision, it's very important to understand uh, why we even need a vision, right? Now, let's say you are a manager or you're a leader for a group of team members, a group of tribe. Let's say you're a tribe leader, or let's say you are a leader of your house. Now, you must have something on your mind which you may call as a vision or you may not call it as a vision, but there must be some vision or there must be some ideal picture of the kind of family that you want to have in case you are a leader of the family. Or let's say if you are a team member in a huge team and you happen to lead that team, you must have a rough idea initially to begin with. You must have a rough idea about the kind of team that you would like to create in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and probably long term as well. Now, because without that, you would not know what you're trying to chase. It's as same as having a dream. It's as same as having a target which you can go after as a group, and all those individuals in that group will play for that one common objective, short term and in long term. Without that goal, without that objective, which is long and short term, the group would not be able to go anywhere. It's as same as having a goal, or let's say having a endpoint to your trip. Let's say you're driving a car with four of your friends and you start driving without knowing where you want to go. Similarly, in life, in business, in career, you must have if not an exact picture of the kind of future that you would like to have, but at least if you can have a rough draft in your mind saying, okay, this is the kind of family that I would like to create, or this is the kind of team that I would like to create, or this is the kind of business I would like to build in short term and in long term, which and all this will definitely help you. And if you still don't agree with me, continue to listen or continue to watch and you will understand why. Now, let's say you've just joined the team, right? You've just joined the team, and your team starts looking up to you as a leader. They would start looking up to you to tell them what that objective is. Now, if you don't have that first draft, now I'm not talking about the first day or the first week. I know it will take time for you to actually understand the kind of business that you are in, understand the kind of culture that organization has. It will take time, but probably after a month or two, your team deserves to know what that team's objective is in 3 months, 6 months, and so on and so forth. So having a vision will help them. Now you can change this vision every now and then. Now, when I say change, be very mindful that you're not going to be changing the vision completely. You will adapt to the current market situation. No matter what that current market situation is at that time, you will try to adapt to it. You will tweak your vision a little bit if needed. Try not to tweak it right from the beginning. But let's say if the demand is for tweaking the vision slightly, please go ahead and tweak that vision. But having a vision is the most important bit for any successful business, for any successful family, for any successful team, for any successful group to actually flourish and thrive. Now, when you actually are thinking about having creating a vision, there are basically two or three very specific things, or two or three very specific steps that I would recommend. One is basically have that vision, or let that vision be compelling. Now, what I mean by that is, let's say if your vision is too short sighted, let's say if your vision is something that doesn't excite not only you, but the people in your team or the people in your family, if it is not able to excite them, be rest assured that probably you will not be able to get their involvement as much as you would wish to in accomplishing that goal. So have a vision which is compelling. First thing, probably what I try to do is I try to dream big. Have a big, bold vision for myself, for my family, for my team members, and for my business. Have that big, bold vision. Now, it could be anything. Now, obviously, it cannot be something like, okay, let's fly to the moon without the space shuttle or whatever. It has to be something which can be achieved humanly at based on whatever role that you are in, but at the same time that goal has to be audacious. Let me give you an example. So let's say if you are into sales, and historically if you look at your sales revenue, let's say quarter on quarter your team has been able to do, let's say, 50,000 rupees sale in last 1 month. Now that has been monthly in sales revenue which has been generated by your team. Now, your objective has to be to get to 2 lakhs per month revenue, right? Now, that is 4 times of what you're trying to do or what you are doing already. What you're supposed to do, it has to be 4 times of that as well. Now, I'm just taking a random example of 4 times. It can be 5 times, it can be 6 times, but if you are audacious enough, it can be 10 times to where you are currently. It's let me give you another example. Let's say if you are uh, in a team which works on fixing software bugs. Now let's say if your team has been able to resolve or fix 10 bugs in last 1 or 2 months, your objective can be to increase that. Fast forward 1 year, your objective has to be that your team is able to resolve at least 50 to 60 bugs in a month. Now it is very audacious goal, I know it. Now people who are whose job is to fix bugs, please don't start dissing me as of yet, because I know it is a very hard thing to do. But I'm talking about setting up an audacious goal for yourself and for your team. Now, once you have done this, once you have created an audacious goal, your job as a leader has to be to create an actionable uh, step by step process for your team and for your organization. It is your job because you came up with that vision. Obviously, once you have the vision, you have to make sure that your team is aligned. But once you get their alignment, you have to take the next step, which is create an action plan. Now, this has to be mostly coming from you, but make sure that you involve your team as well, because most of the job will also be done by them. It's just not you who will be actually doing those action items. It will be them as well. So to make sure, do make sure that you have their alignment, take their ideas, get them involved in whatever vision you have and whatever objective you have for them. Make sure you are also involving them in creating those actionable steps to help you to achieve that goal. Now, let me go back to an example that I previously shared, which is of a sales team, right? Now, if a sales team is doing 50,000 rupees worth of sales a month, and your objective is to have them generate 2 lakhs per month after a year, you and the team has to come up with an actionable process where eventually you will get to 2 lakhs, but right this month or the next month you can get to, let's say, 70,000 rupees, because you cannot jump from 50,000 rupees worth of sales a month to 2 lakhs per month immediately. It has to be gradual, it has to be sustainable for a very long time. So first aim for maybe 70,000 rupees worth of sales in a month, and probably go from there. So go from 70 to 90, 90 to maybe 95, 95 to maybe 97. Maybe after that, suddenly there is this holiday season, and suddenly you are trying to push for 1 lakh 20 or 1 lakh 30,000. Suddenly there is a month which is slump, but your objective has to just be make sure that, okay, if not 1 lakh 50,000, can we keep it around 1 lakh 35 just for this month, which is known to be not good for sales, and then probably make it up after a couple of months. So eventually, after a year, your team will be doing, if not 2 lakhs, they will be somewhere close to 180, 185, 188. And if you're able to achieve that, be rest assured for the next 1 year, you can have an objective of generating 3.5 or 4 or 5 lakhs worth of sales just from your team, because you have done it in the past, you have proved it yourself, and it was an audacious goal back then. You can create another audacious goal thanks to the confidence that you and your team members will have in themselves and yourself, respectively, and then go for it. And that's how great teams do great stuff. That is how they are able to kind of keep repeating whatever great things that they do. And that's the reason why they are called great teams. Now, once that happens, you would understand why. Now, if you're able to basically do this, you'll be able to understand what important role the vision and the strategic planning actually has in the success of your team, your family, or your organization in short term and in long term. Now, it doesn't end here, right? Now, because you're a leader, it is your job to lead this whole thing from the front. There would be a lot of changes that probably you would want to make in the kind of work that your team is doing on a daily basis, the kind of prospects that they are reaching out to, or probably the kind of customers that they are dealing with, or probably the way they are calling, probably the verbatim, or probably the sales pitch that they are using. All that has to change if it has to. And if it has to come from you. You have to be that change maker, or you'll have to drive that change. Probably you will be doing in IT terms or in corporate terms, you will be managing the change. In other terms, you will be doing change management for your team, and you'll be leading it. And like always, you would be needing your team's support. In fact, it's of lot of importance, if not the most important part. But it will be of lot of importance to involve your team in helping you drive that change. Now, once all this happens, once everything is done, the change is done, you have basically okay, let's start from the beginning. You have a audacious vision, and then basically you have created a compelling plan, which is actionable. Fast forward 12 months, you're able to achieve that audacious goal, or you're able to kind of get to that vision that you had for yourself and for your team. And then basically you have created the change management process. You have basically drafted and you have finalized the changes that has to be done, which will help you in achieving that objective of yours. The last part would be to make sure that this whole thing is sustainable and is good for long term, which is, it is feasible. In other words, it is feasible and it is sustainable. Now, you cannot have a product which probably you know that it's not going to get sold for, let's say, 10 lakhs, or it cannot generate 10 lakhs worth of revenue in a month. Now, you have to be very logical there. You have to be very practical there as well. If let's say, if your team is just selling pens, which is worth 10,000 or 10 rupees, there is no way. And even if there is a way, then probably there has to be some great changes within the product line. There has to be great changes that has to be made in the marketing. So basically you'll be working with different stakeholders, the probably the marketing team, probably the product team. You'll have to work with all of them before creating a vision which will be something like 10 lakhs per month revenue just from your team, right? Now if you're able to bring all those changes from all the stakeholders, fantastic, right? I mean, I would stand, and probably the team would can give themselves a standing ovation. But let's say most of the times, as life has it, we will not be able to bring those changes as fast as we want to. And that is where you'll have to see what can, if the vision is feasible, if the vision is feasible to set the sales target to 2 lakhs instead of 10 lakhs, it has to be audacious, but at the same time it has to be feasible. And once done, you will know that okay, this can be sustained as well. Now if it cannot be sustained, and let's say if you have not figured out if it is impossible to sustain this kind of revenue for months on months, then probably you'll have to make those small little changes which I was speaking about. It can be the changes that you're bringing in the marketing team, probably in the product, probably in the way it is pitched, or probably hire more salespeople. Now, these are some of the changes that you have to bring if you want to make sure that the team is not breaking up, it is not getting tired, and basically they would lose interest if your goal is too high to achieve it. And that's the reason why I said it has to be an audacious goal, but at the same time, it has to be practical, it has to be feasible, and it has to be sustainable. Now, in today's video, and this is how I'm gonna close it. So I'm just gonna summarize this video in one or two more sentences, which is have a vision. It has to be bold and audacious vision, no matter what role that you're playing. It probably you're a leader in a group. Probably you are a captain of a cricketing team, or probably you are a leader of your family. It is important to have a vision, a short-term vision, and a long-term vision. In other words, goals, have goals, short term, long term, involve all the stakeholders. It can be your family, it can be your team members, it can be uh, the different departments. In case of business, it can be different departments. Make sure you are involving all the stakeholders in creating that audacious goal for yourself and for your firm or your family. And then have a step by step process, have the actionable items laid out for each and every member of your team and the stakeholders, and make sure that you are leading the change. Because if you don't, then probably no one else will, because it's your vision, your leader. It is your job to make sure that your team is sticking to that plan, not just in short term, but also in long term. With that, I'm going to close today's video. If you have liked this video, please like and subscribe. And yeah, take care of yourself. Be great.